a lot of individuals don't move because they feel they're not significant enough or they don't know enough, regardless of how much. And I mean, you got people that has doctorates and master degrees that have the imposter syndrome. What up, bruh?
Shit ain't nothing. I'm just thinking about these damn consequences and repercussions.
Yeah. I know. Hey, listen.
The thing is, man, I did a damn video on this shit the other day. I was talking to my homeboy, matter of fact, Jacoby, he's on right now, about the kids not cleaning shit up. You know what I'm saying? Because I just want the results, and I'm trying to. What is going to get the results? I don't want to be bad dad and just be taking everything, but I'm like, what's going to push the needle for these motherfuckers? Like, what's
you got to take everything. That's what you got to do. Hey, listen. At the end of the day, man, we both got kids, and I think that's one of the things that, that's one of the areas we get stuck in on how to discipline the kids without being too harsh, but.
Being effective.
And doing it to where it's effective.
Because that's the key is being effective. I feel like sometimes as parents, and I don't want to make it a man-woman thing, but your kids don't respect motherfucking yelling and losing and getting drawn off the handle. Oh, you gonna make daddy mad? Kids don't care about that. It's a result. It's like training puppies. I look at kids like training puppies. You know what I'm saying? You shit on the carpet, boom, hit them with the thing, go sit them on the thing, they do it again. It's just repetitive, but sometimes that shit gets frustrating because you be feeling like y'all are smart enough to understand the shit that I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? But you still are doing it. But like my homeboy said, nobody want to do some shit that they don't want to do. So I'm just thinking through what's the best way to,
You know what it is, man? Like I have, I just set the standard and set the precedent on what I want and what's gonna happen if that doesn't happen, right? So if you can't hold up your end of the bargain, don't look for me to hold up my end of the bargain.
Period.
Right? Your privileges are being able, they're connected to us having an understanding. So if your privileges are being able to play video games, being able to, hang out with your friends, being able to, to if you want specific, want a specific pair of sneakers and things of that nature. It's like if those are your privileges, then how, if you're not holding up your end of the bargain, then I, don't expect me to hold up my end of the bargain. So when you say I don't want to take stuff, that's what I do.
Yeah. No,
I come in the room.
I don't mind taking the shit. My thing is I be nervous of shutting the whole shit down.
No, I shut it down.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I said it one time. Hey, look, I need y'all to come in the room. And one thing I do is I make sure that they understand exactly what I'm saying. Hey, look, I need you to clean your room. When you're done with your room, I need you to go in the basement, do this, and I need one of you guys to come up to do one part of the dishes, and then y'all switch. Do you understand what I'm saying? I got two boys. I got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. I come in. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That piece.
Yes.
That last piece. That's the piece right
understand
there.
what
you got to get
so,
that confirmation.
Confirmation.
Motherfuckers would be like, oh, Dad, we didn't hear you.
Nah.
You can't. Yeah.
So when I come back in the room and this is not done, when you've already said,
I'm going to know you just didn't fulfill
I know, and you just really didn't care. So I'm just coming in. I'm unplugging shit.
Yeah. Start
swoop,
rapping chords
swoop.
up.
I'm like this. I look like I'm cleaning up a rap video. I'm like this. You know what I'm saying? With the
Nah, I told my daughter that shit the other day.
serious.
I said, listen, you getting older, it's gonna be things you're gonna want to do. And you're gonna need me to be like, yeah, you got that. But if every time I look at your track record, you ain't handling business, don't even go on ahead and ask me no shit if you're trying to have a privilege or have some damn fun, because you ain't taking care of business.
Nah, no doubt. Hey, but
Yeah.
You already know what it is, who it is, and how it's going down. This is Transformers, the podcast with your boy, Will Beckford.
And your main man, Dallas Maxwell.
Hey, look, this is the place we come. We want to have an area to where we can help build men from the man they are today to the man that they want to be.
Yep.
And the goal is 100,000.
100,000. Yeah, that's what we put out there.
That's huge.
This the virtual locker room. You know what I'm saying? We get to go over the drills and the plays.
Locker room / barbershop.
There we go. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. That's the place. That's where we got. That's the two places we can do it. So boom. So without further ado, let's get into the topic. So what we want to talk about today is like, the basis of everything is transformation, right? And there's different areas of life that we can transform in: physical, mental, relationships, or whatever. But today, we want to talk about the top 3 questions that men don't want to talk about that is possibly stopping you from leveling up. So the thing about leveling up is that we're making a behavior change. We're first making a mindset change, and then we're making an activity and a habits change, right? But underneath all of that is your mental health, and sometimes we have blockages of men. And so last episode, we talked about doing a self-assessment, which essentially is that if we're going to go somewhere and chart a course to where we want to go, we need to know where we at, right? And so these top 3 questions are things that I don't think that men, we talk about enough. I don't know if it's a safe space or a space for us to talk about this. And that's like we were talking about earlier. We want to create this environment so we can start getting down to the nitty gritty of what's holding you back. Because at the end of the day, everybody's got goals and dreams. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's front of mind or back of the mind, it's some shit you want to get done.
Right.
It's some things you want to become. Everybody wants more. They want to be doing something.
No doubt.
And then if you're not there, the next question is, well, damn, is there a blockage? Is there a breakdown in understanding? Is there something that's holding me back? So these 3 questions I feel are really good, and we're going to go into it. So the first one is, what is your deepest fear, and how is that limiting you for getting your results, right? So a lot of times, I think Jim Rohn, one of them dudes, said fear is false evidence appearing real, but fear can get really big in our minds and stop us before we even start. Damn, I got to go into this real quick. I'm listening to my man Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking, right? This is, a matter of fact, one of the first personal development books I ever got, right? Now, so I got that shit like 20 years ago, so I'm re-listening to it. And he's got this scene where the dude is on the golf course. Matter of fact, it's him, the author, and he's got a tough shot because he's in a grassy thing. And his homeboy who read the book was like, I remind you that the rough, meaning the obstacle, is in your mind. So a lot of times we think that we got a real challenge physically or a real challenge in the real world, but it's a mental challenge. But it's already mental, yeah. It's a mental challenge. So when it comes to fear, when they talk about false evidence of fear and real, you might be making the shit bigger in your head before you even started doing it. Like me and my homeboy were talking about, I used to think about back in the day with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson beat half the cats before they got in the ring. Yeah. Because it was a mental defeat. So how you think is something that can hold you back. So the question is, and this is a rhetorical question in the sense of, if you're watching this, you want to ask yourself, are there any deep-seated fears that I either forgot about, I ain't dealing with, that might be preventing me from leveling up? So Will, what do you think would be an example of some shit like a fear that would stop somebody from really going at it hard?
Yeah, I mean, the fear of failure. You know what I mean?
That's the simplest and biggest one.
Yeah. So especially when someone come in and they know themselves that the goal that they're trying to accomplish is huge, right? So if a person comes in and say, man, in order for me to get to where I want to be and feel how I want to feel, I need to drop 100 pounds, right? The fear is I'm going to do all this work and not accomplish the goal that I set, right? And then outside of that, people start forecasting and they start forecasting and looking at, man, this is not like really what I'm willing to do to accomplish these goals, right? And once we start setting it out, how you train, how you eat, they're not really ready to give up the junk food. They're not really ready to start setting aside time for them to work out and train. And that idea is what stops a lot of people. And I think within all that, it's just the fear of not only that I have to do all this stuff, but in the midst of that, I'm gonna be doing all this stuff, and then more than likely I'm not gonna accomplish the goal, instead of just focusing on the process.
So I got something, this shit just came to me fresh off the dome, you know what I'm saying? One of the things, I'm gonna tie this shit together. When I was coming up, I don't know if you remember Steven Seagal, right? Mm-hmm. I know Steven. Steven Seagal is a beast. So the reason why it was hard for me to really support Steven Seagal, because nigga had a ponytail and he wasn't really in shape. I'm like, I need my action figure to be ripped. I'm
like Sylvester Stallone.
That's Arnold. What I grew. He-Man. That's where I grew up. I'm like, you can't just look like a businessman. But what I liked about Steven Seagal is everything that he did was he would take his opponent's energy and not meet it, but he would use it against him.
Yeah.
So you charge him, he ain't gonna stop you. He's throwing you into the bar.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about this fear concept, right? So we can't get rid of fear, but we could reassign the value. So boom, if the fear is fear of failure, let me go ahead and hit that first. Understand that failure is a part of any part of success. This is like I taught my son when he's riding his bike. Like, Daddy, I don't want to fall. I was like, oh, bro, let me tell you something. You're going to fall.
You're going to fall.
But that's actually a part of the success process. So what if we took our fear of failure and transferred it into the fear of remaining the same?
And you think about it, a kid will be afraid to fall that didn't even fall yet.
So if you're afraid to fall, I'm going to tell you what you're saying. You're afraid to walk.
That's what I'm saying. It's that mindset that it looks like, it kind of look like it's painful.
And I'm gonna tell you what fear loves. Again, I'm gonna tell you the fertilizer that fear loves. If you ever want to water fear and grow your fear, don't take action.
Right.
If you want fear to turn into a monster, don't take action. The biggest way, I think T.I. said that shit in one of the songs. He said you get courage from your fear right after you go through it. You know what I'm saying? You get courage from your fear right after you go through it. So I think this conversation of addressing fear of what it really is false evidence appearing real, meaning this is something in your brain that's a mental block that's stopping you from moving forward, not knowing that fear is natural. Fear is normal, and it's actually a part of the process, and it's actually what gives the shit value.
Right, and a lot of times there's more, like we think it's more than what it is.
We always think it's more than what it is.
We put a lot more emphasis on what it actually, on what we think it is opposed to what it actually is.
I told my son that the other day. I was like, he was talking about something, and I was like, let me ask you this question, son. I said, I want you to think about a time where the situation turned out as bad as you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it rarely is. He
never tilted his head. I said, no, really think about it.
He gave it to you?
I said, really think about a time that you was either worried or you were scared of something, and then what really happened was as bad as you thought it was. So he thought about it. He was like, it ain't never happened. So what does that tell you? So if you're worrying about something in your mind, Lauren Scovel shit in the Game of Life and How to Play it. She was like, fear, why do we worry about things that'll probably never happen anyway? So I got him to see that basically that shit is in your head.
Right.
You creating obstacles before you ever start, and you don't got no data to support that it's that bad. So fear is an illusion, but it prevents us from starting, and I think the whole fear of failure thing is a lot of us, I don't know if it's rejection. Maybe we don't want to be embarrassed. Maybe it's like, damn, if I put all this effort into this shit and still don't win, how am I going to feel? You know what I'm saying? But that is for everybody out there that's experienced fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, or you don't want to start because you're scared. First of all, just know everybody feels that way and everybody goes through it. It ain't a person that, damn, that joker's fearless. Nah, it ain't that he's fearless. He just understands what fear is. You know what I'm saying? That's par for the course.
And he's willing to still take action.
Well, because his fear of staying the same is greater than his fear of not making a change.
That's the difference.
So have fear.
Right.
Like, be scared. But don't be scared of trying and messing up. Be scared of not trying and never knowing.
And yeah, true.
So, that's the first thing. So the top 3 questions that men need to ask themselves before beginning to level up. The first one is that, do you have fear, and how is it limiting? So really ask yourself. And see, this shit can get kind of a deep drill, because if you want to go deep into where did the fear come from and really unpack it, you can do it on your private time. But it doesn't make sense to start unless you put that in its proper place, right? So the next question is, what are your biggest insecurities, and how do they hold you back? Now, this is shit, man. We don't be talking about no damn insecurities,
I know,
man.
But that's the problem.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is jokers be privately, secretly not saying shit.
Right.
But in their mind, they got a complex that's preventing them from pulling the trigger. It's so funny, man, now that I think about this, because I never understood that shit. When I go to the gym, I be reading all these dumbass signs, judgment-free zone, and we don't judge. I'm like, why do we care about that? And then until I dialed in on it, they're really tapping into a real human thing.
Yeah.
Like, people are trying to make major change. These people are scared. They don't know if they got what it takes to stick with it. They don't know if they're good enough to do it. They don't know if they can achieve the results. So fear and insecurity is a real thing, and I don't think that as men, it's some shit that we can even deal with. Jokers just take it on the chin and never really kind of address it. I mean, we'll go ahead.
You know, but it's just priming though. I think you know, when you walk into a gym or you walk into a place and it says no judgment zone, it's just priming the mind for the individuals that's new to that environment to say, you know what, whatever I think that's going on in here, at least they're not judging me because this is a no judgment zone, right? And you know, that's kind of like how I look at that. You know, we talk all the time about how important it is for you to be secure in what you're doing and have confidence in what you're doing, and why you shouldn't worry about these external things and thoughts. But you know,
but it's easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, especially when someone is walking into an environment that they have no
that's fair.
no
That's
idea
fair.
of kind of
That's fair. And so, fear, insecurity is par for the course, but these are the things that are on the road of breaking through to your highest self. And again, the name of the game is transforming. So,
and you got to think too. So with you know, when we talk about biggest insecurities, you know, we can also look into the imposter syndrome, right?
I was just talking to my brother about that shit
Yeah.
yesterday.
So
talk about the imposter syndrome. So what is that for people that ain't never heard that before? Bust it down.
No, I mean, you know, a lot of individuals don't move because they feel they're not significant enough or they don't know enough, regardless of how much. And I mean, you got people that has doctorates and master degrees that have you know, have the imposter syndrome. So just in general, I think a lot of that comes from insecurities, and it stops individuals from moving or taking action in general, and that's just all in the mind.
You know what occurred to me just now as you saying that is like, I think that people that aren't where they want to, I'm speculating, you could chime in on it. I think that people that aren't really where they want to be assume that the people that are don't have the same challenges that they have.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? I think they divide themselves. And I think the crux of what we're trying to say is that these are things that all men, all human beings are affected by, but the winners, the people that get to it, it's not that they're not dealing with it, but it's how that they deal with it and how to put it in the proper perspective, so to speak.
Right. You got to think about, like, for me, I've suffered with that, having imposter syndrome.
Man,
as long as I've been doing this,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just a natural thing. How many times have you posted something that's intellectual or something that is supposed to enlighten individuals, and you just like, I don't know if I should post this, and you just overthink it. Like, if you get to a point where you just overthink, then that's like a form of imposter syndrome. When you're supposed to be putting the information out to just help individuals, you're worrying about all the external things. You're worrying about everybody else and what they're going to think about you, and a lot of times it causes procrastination and stop individuals from moving in general.
It's imposter. Not only is it imposter syndrome, but you damn D'ing yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you checking your own self, but at the end of the day, and that's what. And it's funny, the insecurity and the fear. That's what stops people from just making that first move. Mm-hmm. And one thing I noticed, and I all my life experiences shows me that anytime you try something, whether you succeed or fail, you at least walk away with something that you can improve on that thing better. And even if it's like a little baby step, and really, honestly, you think about that saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Really what it is it's breaking what seem like insurmountable things down into little bite-sized goals that you can kind of deal with as a little bit of peace. So if you're a man and you got damn fear, just, man, welcome to the club. It means you're alive. You know what I'm saying? And if you've ever experienced some insecurities that you feel are maybe I'm not good enough, or go ahead, what about to say?
No, you go ahead.
No, maybe I'm not good enough or whatever. Just know that that's par for the course, but don't gloss over these things because there's a lot of juice in that. There's a lot of teachable moments in getting down to nitty-gritty and asking, where do these fears come from? Is this shit real? Am I unique? Nah, you're not. Everybody go through it. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of times it's perspective as well, you know.
How you looking at it.
And how you looking at it. It's just perspective. Even when we talk about physical insecurities, you know, whether it's you don't like how your nose look, you don't like how your body's shaped, you don't like insecurities in general, but when you think about some people that's stuck in the bed, or people that can't move around, folks that can't walk, folks that, when you start looking at it like that and start really putting it in perspective, it changes things. So not to hop off and go on a whim about these specific things and the physicalities of it, but it's just a lot of times it's perspective. Like,
I think most times, if not all times,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't even got to be nice about it. It is every time. Because as I'm thinking about what you just said, it's your perspective of your fear. It's your perspective of your insecurity. Like you said, well, I ain't worked out. I don't know what to do. You know what? Somebody that knows way less than you. You got a big ass nose. You know somebody got a bigger ass nose than you.
Right.
Like, if you need to feel like, yeah, but I come from this. You know somebody had a way worse situation. Like, but this is what happened to me. You know some worse shit happened to somebody else that got further. So sometimes we just need the contrast and the comparison. You know what I'm saying? The perspective. Like you said, whatever you think you're dealing with, it's real for you, and that shit is real, and I'm not trying to minimize it.
Right.
But if you need some power around it, just think about the gratitude of what you have, but then also do some comparison.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sometimes, are you the poorest motherfucker? Are you the most abused person? Are you the ugliest person? Are you the shortest person?
Go on YouTube. That's all you got to do.
You'll find everything you need.
Yeah, find everything you need. So, you know,
so
and
perspective.
most instances is, you know, if you have perspective, you have more grace.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Perspective is what gives you an accurate view, because oftentimes, we see life through the filters of how we see ourselves. So if you're struggling with fear, you might make an obstacle way bigger than it actually is. That shit might be a level 2 obstacle. You got that shit as a level 10. You know what I'm saying?
That's
or
true.
If you got an insecurity, maybe you might be heightening your insecurity when that shit is not really real. But if you change your perspective and compared it, the thing is that it's not so bad. I used to always tell people, like, yo, how you doing? I'd be like, better than some, worse than others. Because that's always it. You're always in that slider of trying to move up the ladder, so to speak. So what are your deepest fears? You must address them and understand them. Then understand it's par for the course, and fear is false evidence appearing real, so you can move through. Insecurities are natural. Most people have insecurities. You need to be aware of them. Say, okay, thank you for sharing insecurity. I get that nobody ain't never did this. I get that I tried this before, and what makes me think it's going to work. Thanks for sharing, because your conscience is going to tell you some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Once you get through that, change your perspective and look at it from a different way. And then the last question is, what failures have you experienced, and how have they shaped you? So I always say that there's a blessing and there's a lesson in what you're stressing. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I like that.
You know what I'm saying? There's always a blessing and lesson. I tell my kids all the time, there's no such thing as losing. You either win or you learn. All you got to do is comb through your life experiences and find a lesson in it that's more valuable than what you paid for it, and you won. So the way to turn your losses into learning is to make sure that everything that you go through, you're not just going through it, but you're growing through it. And what did I learn? And that feeds back to the game tape shit that we always talk about. You know what I'm saying? So ask yourself, what are my strengths? What did I survive? What did I overcome? And how can I use that to overcome this new thing that I'm doing? And you can apply whatever it took you to get through something you didn't think you was going to make it through. You have that same strength to possess it for these new things. So the 3 questions, I guess we just to recap, is that we're talking about barriers to transformation, things that are foundational in terms of that you must address as a man, or anybody for that matter, if you want to level up. The first one is dealing with your fear, putting it in a proper perspective, understanding that it's par for the course and everybody has fear. The second one is, how has your insecurity shaped you, or how are you allowing them to shape you? And if you don't like the shape, then change it. And then the third one is making sure you're mining your past experiences for wisdom that you can invest in now, and learning from what you're going through instead of just going through it, growing through it.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty much it. I mean,
it's another one in the box. Man, we appreciate you guys always tuning in, locking in with us, allowing us to give you some game. Hopefully, what we do share will help shape your life, and you can apply these things as tools to help you level up and get to, take your situation to the next level.
And just some quick B-roll. We got a couple minutes. Is that even doing this shit, man, like we don't gotta get into what happened. We got here, we had a bird in the damn gym.
Bro.
Chasing the damn bird out of the gym. It's always gonna be something that's gonna want to get you off the course. And I'm gonna say, like Hov said, he said the genius shit that we did was we just didn't give up.
Right.
You're going to come up with a million reasons to not do some shit. It's too cold. I don't have the time. I'm tired. I never did this before. But just understand is that if you persist and you don't stop, you got to win.
Right.
You got to win. So
that's a fact.
That's my last little words.
So, yeah, guys, again, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is Transformers, the podcast with your main man,
Dallas Maxwell.
and your boy, Will Beckford.
That's what it is.
We'll see y'all in a little bit, man.
All right.
Be
Appreciate
great.
y'all. Yep.
Peace.